Hello everyone. I'm glad to meet up and share my views about this particular topic. So coming to the question, what is coronavirus? Coronavirus has been there since last few decades. We have been diagnosed with coronavirus infection in young children since quite a few years. However, the current epidemic of COVID-19 is due to coronavirus, which is a newer strain. This new strain has originated in Wuhan city of China and has caused pandemic across the world. And this particular new virus is SARS virus, which is responsible for this corona or COVID-19 epidemic. Coming to transmission, we know that it is similar to any other respiratory tract infections, the viruses that are responsible for respiratory tract infection. It is predominantly transmitted by droplets. Droplet means the fine particles of the virus that are actually coming out when you are speaking, coughing, or sneezing. These droplets are present in the air and they get deposited in an individual who is within 1 meter of vicinity into the mucous membrane. Mucous membrane means the nose, mouth, eyes, the soft lining of these tissue is called mucous membrane. Whenever these viruses are deposited there, they tend to multiply and they spread into the body. And the transmission is predominantly happening when the two individuals are close. One infected person can transfer to other. This is common in closed space areas, namely predominantly house. For example, one individual or one family member is infected, he is likely to infect other members of the family, or at workplace, or due to some gatherings, namely social gathering, marriage, religious gathering. And also it is transmitted by actually contamination. For example, if you are going and touching handles, doors, or contaminated surfaces where these droplets or viruses are there, from hand, when we touch our face, mouth, it is transmitted. So basically it is transmitted either by airborne or from hand or this thing. And the most important way or place it happens in a closed space. That's more important to realize that. Infectiousness means how long an individual or a child or an adult who has got COVID will transfer or infect others. That is what infectiousness means. What we have seen is, if an individual is infected, he is likely to transfer his infection from up to 2 or 3 days before he starts to have symptoms. That is symptoms of cold, cough, fever. Even before he develops symptoms, he will be transmitting the infection to other. And after the onset of symptoms, he will be infectious to other individual up to 2 to 3 weeks. What we have seen is, in the first week of illness, the risk of infection to others is much higher. But however, that risk decreases after 2 weeks, and up to 3 weeks, these individuals can transfer infection from them to other individuals. After 4 weeks, it's almost they become non-infectious to other individuals. What we have seen in our practice as well as worldwide literature is that COVID in children is very mild form. These children either have no symptoms, they are called as asymptomatic. Other subset of children who have got symptoms have got milder variety. They either have mild fever, cold, cough, and the children who have severe disease in the form of breathing difficulty or low oxygen needs admission. So a very small minority of the patients need admission to the hospital. Symptoms of COVID in children are similar to what is seen in adults. They have fever in up to 60% of the children. Cold and cough may be there in 50% of children. What we have seen is up to 25% of children can have gastrointestinal symptoms, that is stomach pain, vomiting, diarrhea, and some children complain of severe headache, body pain, myalgia. So these are all the common symptoms of COVID-19 in children, and these symptoms are similar to adults. In adults, up to 15% of the adults do report that they have loss of smell, loss of taste. However, in children, this particular symptom is slightly less common, though some adolescents report that they have felt they cannot taste anything, they cannot smell anything, and then immediately they start to have symptoms of fever, cough, cold. So these symptoms are also seen, but it is only possible to make out in adolescent children. In infants, the symptoms what I mentioned earlier, fever, cold, cough, diarrhea, could be there. However, some children predominantly present with irritability, excess crying, not able to eat and drink, vomiting. So if you have a children with fever and these symptoms, you do need to suspect it could be COVID. If any family member of that particular infant has similar symptoms, then we should raise the suspicion of a viral illness, predominantly COVID-19. In children, we diagnose COVID-19 in a similar way as we tend to diagnose in the adults. If the child is asymptomatic or mildly symptom, so what we do is we do collect a sample from the back of the nose or from the back of the throat. We have got a device called swab, which is a plastic along with the cotton, this thing we insert into the back of the nose or throat, and the secretions from the back of the nose or back of the throat are collected and put in a plastic carrier. That goes to our laboratory. Here we do a specialized test called PCR, which stands for polymerase chain reaction. They identify the small molecular particles of this virus, and the test per se doesn't take a long time. It just takes about 1 hour to 2 hours of the time. However, in a given kit, we need to put about 25 to 50 samples from different individuals. So in order to collect all those samples, it may take some time. So the turnover time can be 1 day or 2 days, depending on how busy your center is. But the test per se does take only few hours. In the children who are unwell with high grade fever, unwell, breathing difficulty, low oxygen level, and X-ray showing signs of severe pneumonia, we do, in addition to the COVID test, we do other additional tests. They include blood count, signs of infection markers like CRP, and if those markers like D-dimer, CRP are high, they reflect that it is a severe form of COVID in children. But those tests are done in a child who is hospitalized. Yes, recently in an outbreak that has taken place in England, they have noted that about 20 children had a special form of disease called multisystem inflammatory disease or syndrome. What it actually implies is it is a complication of COVID. After COVID, patient has suffered from COVID, mild or severe form of COVID, then the child continues to have high grade fever, becomes very unwell, then may have signs of shock, which means cold hand, cold feet, low blood pressure, and some of these children have weakness of the heart, what we call myocardial dysfunction or myocarditis, and the vessels that supply the heart are also infected, that is affected, that is coronary arteries. So these children will have multi-system, which means it is heart, it is the gut, and some of these children skin also is affected. In the skin, you may see that there is redness of the fingers, redness of the lips, redness of the tongue, redness of the eyes, along with swelling of the hand, swelling of the face, swelling of the legs. These children are extremely irritable, upset, crying, high fever, and this particular complex entity is called as multisystem inflammatory syndrome. And this is, I don't want you to get worried about this condition. It is extremely rare. In a big outbreak and epidemic, only 20 children had these problems. In India, 2 to 3 cases are reported, which means it is exceptionally rare. I don't suggest the parents to worry about it. The treatment of COVID is similar to any other viral infections. We give them paracetamol, we recommend the parents to give a lot of fluids, and we assess them with their oxygen level. If the child has got only fever, little bit of cold and cough, but examination of chest is normal, and when we check the oxygen level, they are normal, we suggest the family to home quarantine by giving paracetamol, plenty of fluids. If the child develops breathing difficulty, or his oxygen levels go down, or he is finding a difficulty in breathing, or if he becomes excess sleepy, not eating, not drinking, lot of abdominal pain, lot of vomiting, that is the time we need to admit them. After admission, we have a protocol where we use antiviral medications, steroids, IV fluids, antibiotic, and most of the children worldwide, as well as with our experience, we've seen that these children do recover brilliantly. Yes, when you talk about vaccination, you mean, I understand, the routine vaccination of the childhood. Answer is yes. We should make sure that the children should be taken to a vaccine center, maybe your own pediatrician, or to our hospital, or to any hospital where you regularly take your vaccines. There is no reason to unduly delay any of the vaccination. Most of the hospitals have separated the COVID area from non-COVID area. Obviously, the pediatric department and the hospitals are taking all the precautions so that there is no mixing of the COVID and non-COVID. It's absolutely safe to go to your center, take the vaccination in a timely fashion, because it is very important to protect your children against these deadlier infections. Because COVID is going to be with us for a near future. By postponing vaccination for several months, you may put your child in a dangerous situations, and you may expose them or make them vulnerable to suffer from deadlier infections like measles, mumps, severe pneumonias, rotaviral infections. My suggestion is we need to take those vaccinations in a timely fashion. Thanks a lot. Nice speaking to you all. If you have any comments, please do not hesitate to write to us. Thank you.